We're going to try this again. Apparently, HOI News might be out of commission for the foreseeable future. All right.
Again, apparently,
Okay, so I'm up now. But for anybody that's wondering why I'm on HOI Philly is because as I was playing a video with Ivy Loeb, it's like, yeah, as I was playing a video with Ivy Loeb, talking about Three Eye Atlas, they cut the transmission, if you will. All right, give me a minute. They cut the transmission. Now they're putting all this stuff up. Saying that uh it's a copyright violation, but of course, if you say I said Fair Use Act, and I also said they won't let me. Oh wow. Okay. Having issues too now. Um, that's interesting. So you know what? Put it like this. You got to really look into this Three Eye Atlas thing because this hasn't happened before. I make videos once a week at least. You know what I mean? I do a Sabbath class. I don't normally put videos on that, but um, I have these videos almost all the time, right? So, and I say Fair Use Act, and normally I don't have a problem unless it's something major that they don't want to go out. So I would advise you to look a little bit more if you're looking into, oh, this is that. That's why I call it Operation Bluebeam, as like, because a lot of people talk about Bluebeam and, they say, oh, everything that happens, oh, it's Bluebeam. Oh, I heard about Operation Bluebeam, so it's definitely Operation Bluebeam. Um, eventually it's not going to be Operation Bluebeam. Eventually we're going to look at something and it's going to be right in your face. You know what I'm saying? If this thing right now is behind the sun and they're looking at it right now as we speak, that if it changed speeds or didn't break up at all because it was behind the sun, it should be like kind of broken up like a comet now. Um, if if that doesn't happen, then it's intelligently controlled. If it makes cuts the corner and comes towards Earth, means it's intelligently controlled. And of course, Esau lies, but this is something that's so out there, you know what I mean, that you can go out right now and get a telescope and look at it yourself. You know what I mean? Um, and that must be scary to anybody that's an evil person because like Stephen Hawking said, they might treat us like Christopher Columbus treated the Native Americans. And we all know how that turned out. Okay, so Esau's scared. I was on live stream for about 10 minutes and they cut the feed talking about Three Eye Atlas. So now I'm on HY Philly talking about Three Eye Atlas. You know what I mean? Hopefully I don't get another copyright strike. So I gotta say it again. First and foremost, we'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being named the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai being named His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kwom Yasha'Allah, rise Israel. Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Double honors to our elders that are waking up the lost sheep of Israel in these last days, these so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. Let's get it. All right, so let's read it again. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. You know what I mean? We got our Hispanic brothers and sisters, of course, getting dragged out of their car by armed ICE agents. You know what I mean? We're at a point where you can't call the police. Remember we were talking about that? At one point in time, we're saying, it's gonna be a time where you can't call the police. You can't call the police because it's the police that's doing it. It's federal agents that are doing it, ripping people out their car. They don't have to be illegal. All they have to do is look illegal, whatever that means. Obviously, we know what it means. It means you're brown. Okay? If you look like you don't belong here, you don't look lily white. They tell the South Africans, come on in. Anybody brown, you gotta get out of here. Like, I was born here. Sure thing. Right? And they'll send you to a supermax prison. This is not normal. Go to send somebody down to El Salvador who's never been locked up, but you're in a supermax prison with 18th Street, MS-13, all these major gangs, and it's you on like 4 bunk beds with like 400 people in a cell. Okay, that's crazy. They sent our brothers to Guantanamo Bay. Probably are still doing it, just not reporting on it because there's so much stuff going on. Okay, so we're in that time. We're there. You know what I mean? You can't call the cops because the cops are the ones doing it. All right, verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. Okay, so if the Most High doesn't hear our prayers of, trying to get out of here as fast as possible before more National Guard people are deployed, for more ICE agents are deployed, you can work. ICE now has a bigger budget than the Marines. Domestic ICE agents have more money, more budget than the Marines. That's where we're at. They don't care about Venezuela or Iran or whatever. They care about you. Oh, when Jacob's trouble hits, it ain't hit yet. You sure about that? Let's continue on. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So that's why, we call on brothers and sisters, man, pray to the Most High that, we can get out of here sooner than later. I think we got another 50 years on this planet. You want another 50 years on this planet. You must be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? But for what I know, reading the scriptures, my ancestors were crying out to Yahweh Shem Yahushai after the taskmasters heavy, put more on their load to work in ancient Egypt. And the Most High heard their prayers, called on Moses and Aaron, and the rest is history. But of course, they weren't sitting there saying, I think we got another 700 years here. Nah, it's not going to work. Okay? Calling Yahweh Shem Yahushai while he is near. Verse 23. Then, if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. So we talk about 3-Eye Atlas, people will probably say like, yo, Christ is over there in Venezuela. Let's go over there now. Or, he's on the West Coast. Let's go over there. He's on the East Coast. Let's go over there. It says, believe it not. Okay, so Blue Beam is an operation, but it doesn't mean that operation is going to be able to proceed. So we had to put on our thinking caps. One thing we can see is that Esau don't want to talk about it. And I did notice that, and I talked about that in previous live streams on I guess, Bodied Now, HY News, YouTube. That MSNBC and CNN, they're not talking about this. It's not huge. Now, there's a couple segments out there and they're doing numbers because people want to talk about it, but they're not talking about it. If it was such a diabolical plan from jump, wouldn't they want people to know about it? I talk to people that don't, that aren't on social media like that, and they watch the news. You know what I mean? Your mainstream news. I asked them, you ever heard 3-Eye Atlas? They're like, no. So those are the people that my gauge to, the public, the public that don't seek out this information. Did they get indoctrinated and propagandized to this? And the answer is no. and they cut my live feed in 10 minutes. Okay. Something we gotta talk about, something we gotta think about. All right. Let's go to Matthew. Let's continue on, verse 24. For there shall rise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And there has been times where people have sent mass texts and groups, hey, turn off your phone on July 7th, 2024. They're gonna put some type of frequency in the air and it's gonna make people's heads explode and da da da. I'm like, you sure that's gonna happen? That day came and passed. People talking about, oh, Christ is supposed to come back on this day. That's been happening for years too. You know what I mean? So we got to put our thinking caps. We got to, have critical thinking. Can they actually well, for the sake of argument, we'll call it a comet. I don't believe it's a comet. You know what I mean? It's made of nickel. It has a light in the front of it. It's faster than anything they ever seen before. But can they make a hologram of a comet through the sky that's on its way? There's like 7 comets in the sky right now, 7 or 8 comets. I seen one. I'm like, wow, that's a comet. I remember seeing Halley's Comet back in the day and thinking, wow, that's amazing. You know what I mean? There's like 7 or 8 of them, and they surrounding the Earth right now. That's not normal. That is not normal. Okay, for somebody that actually like watches the news and pays attention to the news, none of this stuff is actually normal. Okay, and I'm just trying to put that out there, that the importance that you know we know Esau's a liar. He lies about everything. But he doesn't have all power and all might. He is not the heavenly Father. All right. He can't even sit in the sun without getting burnt up. I can get on YouTube and watch so many fights of people getting beat down and bloodied and shootings and sexual scenes and all this stuff. But he gonna cut my feet in 10 minutes. Come on, man. We gotta see the writing on the wall. And they did this. They did that before. Not to go off the subject, but on Instagram, I put up a video of me breathing and talking about meditation. That apparently was a copyright violation. They don't want you to meditate. They don't want you to get inside. They don't want you to talk to your heavenly Father and listen to him. You know what I mean? Through silence. They're going to be burning Bibles soon. You already know what it is. Okay. All right. Where was I at? Let's see. Verse 25. Behold, I've told you before. Therefore, if they say, it's like, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So you're going to see it. Now, do we know the day or time? No. He's coming like a thief for the night? Yes. But when it talks about lightning coming out of the east and shining unto the west, people are going to see it. Okay. Let's get Daniel chapter 2, verse 32. Esau is a trip. It's all good because you know that his time is very short. He knows his time is very short. If he cuts a live stream with 5 people on it, oh man. Well, you know what? Who knows? It might have been more than 5 people. They could, might be 500. They, cooking the numbers. I seen that on Facebook. I go like somebody's post and then it says like 350 and I'm like, oh. And then it goes down to like 2. I'm like, oh, Saw behind the curtain real quick. Daniel 2 and Well, I say 32. The image, the image's head was of fine gold, right? That's Babylon. His breast and his arms of silver, Medio-Persian. His belly and his thighs of brass, Greco-Macedonian. 33. His legs of iron, the Roman Empire, and his feet part iron and part clay, the Greco-Roman Empire, the Edomite nations, right? 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them in pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, these nations, right? These ruling nations, all broken up, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth, coming righteous kingdom of Yahushai, right? Yahweh Bashim Mashiach Yahushai. Let's go to, let's see. Let's go to verse 44. The stone tore them all up. Verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now, am I saying that Three-Eyed Atlas is this stone that broke into his kingdom? It's possible, you know? It is possible. To somebody to say that it's impossible, uh, I would definitely tell you to look into it. You know what I mean? And we'll have more information on it, most high willing, tomorrow. But it's something just got to talk about. You know, it's not a comet. If it's not a comet, then what is it? It's 33, what, billion tons? It seems to have the fixtures on it are spaced out a certain amount. You know what I mean? Like it's just not natural. Okay. You know, swing low, sweet chariot. Um, okay. So talking about Three-Eye Atlas got me kicked off my live stream. Like I'm gonna keep on saying that. You know what I mean? So it even gives more credence that it's not just a comet. You know what I mean? To say it's a comet is grossly uh it's ignorant. It's so ignorant. You know what I mean? So it's coming from behind the sun. We'll see most high willing tomorrow if it broke apart, if it sped up, if it slowed down. You know, they already have uh instance that actually did slow down. They said it was flashing the Fibonacci sequence. There's a light in front of it. You know, you have a comet with a tail in the back, the light's in front of it, and then, you know, later on the tail came up, it turned emerald green. It doesn't have any carbon to burn off. Normally, if it turns green, they have carbon to burn off, but it's made of nickel. Okay. The Mars rovers and the satellites they have in Mars that mysteriously turned off during the government shutdown. They say government shutdown. So the we have no pictures with the high quality NASA satellites, which our tax dollars go to pay. You know what I mean? Because allegedly due to this government shutdown. Now they know what it is. They could easily just release it. You know what I mean? Like other people are going to work, right? The air traffic controllers, they're going to work. They're not getting paid. The military is going to work. They're not getting paid. But NASA's like, yeah, we're not going to show you anything. It's just very strange, you know? Very, very strange. And then also the planetary defense mechanism, whatever. NASA's planetary defense has been activated during I think November, end of November to like January. Never been activated before. That's normally because an asteroid is on its way and it's, the Armageddon with Bruce Willis is coming towards us and this, that, and third. But the way Three Eye Atlas is moving is supposed to not come nowhere near the Earth unless it takes a turn. And we should find that out, tonight, tomorrow, whether it's turning, whether it moved off course. But NASA already said this thing ain't normal, so we're going to have a planetary defense organization or whatever. I don't know the last part of that. The planetary defense is activated. All right, moving on. Let's talk about planes getting hit with a with space debris. One in trillions that this actually happened. If it was space debris that hit. All right, let's go to Second Maccabees 9 and verse 7. It's like I get back on track. Esau tried to knock me off, but boom, we back on. And also it's gonna be a lot. We're gonna talk about a lot of things tonight. I'm gonna try to speed some things up just because the timeline got kind of thrown off course. All right. But let's get it. Second Maccabees chapter 9 and verse 7. Howbeit, it's Antiochus, right? Howbeit, he nothing at all ceased from his bragging, but still was filled with pride, breathing out fire in his rage against the Jews. Because he lost a fight, you know what I mean, with the Persians, and now he's going to try to pick on somebody, right? That's what, Esau does. He tries to pick on somebody who he thinks is lesser, but our power is more. Our power is the power, okay? And commanding to haste the journey, but it came to pass that he fell down from his chariot, carried violently, so that having a sore fall, all the members of his body was very much pain. So let's see what's happening with the modern day chariot. Let's see what Yahweh Shemel Shah had in store with the modern day chariots, and they're still falling out of the sky. So that's something else very important. We tend to look at things through 24-hour news cycles and not to go back in time, which is not that long ago, to a time in like November. You can go back. I don't know if we have access to I don't know if HY News is still alive right now, but through those videos talked about planes falling from the sky back then. And I had a whole list of like 15 videos, which I couldn't even keep going because this plane fell out of the sky, that plane fell out of the sky in Brazil, in Buffalo, landed on a emergency landing um, on a highway, a plane crashed in Honolulu. It was happening so much that people started talking about it. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, what, a month after that, man, like December, you got drones in New Jersey, which spread all around, the eastern seaboard over there in Germany. I know some guy that came out and said, "Oh, we're the drone makers and we did this and that and the third." I mean, Esau's a liar, so if you actually believe that um he did it, he was standing over Langley, Virginia, right? All these military bases. And he can come out and say that he was the one that put the drones out there and he's not in jail. And you know what I mean? Because all the money that it cost, and over there in Finland, um, they had to close down, or Copenhagen, they had to close down airports. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, nah, nah. You would go to jail for that. So him just saying that, it seemed like a smokescreen. But the reality was there were SUV sized drones. There would be balls of light and then turn into drones. Allegedly, when I say drones, I'm quotation marks. No noise, you can't hear them. No anti-drone technology worked. People would lift up the drones towards them. The other drone will knock them out the sky. They had no radio frequency to speak of, and they all worked. It's not like one person's using a remote. They were all on in New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, all independent of each other, and they couldn't find where they're landing, couldn't find where they were coming out of. And now, New York Post had an article about 10,000 USOs, unidentified submersible objects, flying or in the waters of Florida and California, pretty much surrounding the United States. So we can't forget about those things before we get into, what Three Eye Atlas is and isn't. If anything, it's right on time.
First at 10, a United Airlines flight coming from Denver to LA diverts to Salt Lake City after an object struck the plane midair, shattering the windshield and injuring the pilot with glass shards. Investigators suspect it could have been space debris or even a small meteorite.
Can you imagine a meteor falling? First of all, a meteor falling is wow. Wow, we saw a meteor fall, right? And then it hits a plane. Do you know that? Do you know you could win the lottery in every city in every state in America? You win the Powerball, the pick, five pick, three pick in every state in every city, and still not add up to the statistical anomaly. You know what I'm saying? That this is trillions.
Good evening to you. I'm Susan Hirasuna. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf. He is outside LAX tonight after speaking exclusively with someone on board that flight.
A sky-high scare with urgent new questions raised by these photos and what crashed into a commercial airliner 36,000 feet above Utah.
When the pilot made his initial emergency broadcast, he told us that a window in the cockpit had shattered.
Heather Ramsey was recording the sunrise on Thursday's flight from Denver to LA when everything suddenly changed.
One flight attendant really raised her voice at the other and told her get back, get to the back of the aircraft, stop service.
Moments later, they quickly dropped 10,000 feet.
The pilot came on over the intercom and said, unfortunately, we have some bad news. The aircraft has collided with an object. Then he informed us we would have to make an emergency landing in Salt Lake City.
Heather held her phone tight through turbulence and fear. Then the tense landing in Salt Lake.
And I was looking out the window just thinking we could go down at any time. So it was really scary. We were all kind of holding our breath until the very end. You could definitely feel a tension on the entire aircraft.
This photo, now seen millions of times on X, shows the United Airlines pilot with apparent bruises and scratches to an arm with the plane's windshield busted. All 134 passengers safe and put on a new plane to LA, but what hit that aircraft almost 7 miles high remains a mystery.
That seems a little high for a bird to be, but people are saying, scrap metal, it could be space debris, we have drones.
The plane landed at LAX about 6 hours late. The odds of something like this happening, astronomical. According to the FAA, there's never been a space debris strike to a commercial airliner, and the chance of that happening is less than 1 trillion to 1.
1 trillion to 1. You like the odds? Let's say 35,000 feet, crack the windshield. They're gonna show you, see the blood. It messed them up. You know what I mean? Most High messing up these chariots, and you look at Revelation talks about. Archangel Michael will be knocking them out of the sky. You're not supposed to be in the heavens. You have to be, taken down. Let's try to be like the Most High. You can't. So these people are actually upset that these things are happening, but they can't do nothing about it. That's very important. We talk about they can't do anything about this. All right. Let's continue on.
The NTSB releasing this statement Sunday, saying they're investigating a cracked windscreen while gathering radar, weather, and flight recorder data.
The pilot did a phenomenal job, both manning the aircraft after that happened and keeping composure.
The following video.
Yep, and we're gonna talk about this too. We're gonna talk about the things that's happening to their kids. Let's get Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 17. Yeah, intimidation, things of that nature, it just don't work. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? What, you know, like the Most High said, he made our face hard against their face, like flint. You know what I mean? We don't back down easily. And to get a whiff that Esau is trying to stop something makes us go harder. You know what I mean? Pray harder, meditate harder, fast more. You know what I'm saying? It's a losing battle, man. You can't win. You can't win. What Most High set up, you can't knock down. All right, Isaiah chapter 43, verse 17, which bringeth forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together. They shall not rise. They are extinct. They are quenched as tow. You know, the chariots are on the ground in ancient Egypt and the chariots in the sky in modern day Babylon. Trying to be in the heavens with the Most High, trying to be like the Most High. Who's gonna bring you down to the ground? Esau says. Let's continue on. Okay, let's get into what's happening to their children because in actuality, Esau knows his time is short. Esau knows his time is up. But what he doesn't want, he wants to save his children. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them. Some of them are just, terrible to their own children. Like the worst fathers out there. And Esau, I think it was Shesaw, brought that out. Like, let's not pretend that, the black folks are the most violent and this, that, and the third. In my family, I see my mom get beat every day and my aunt gets beat every day and then they molest their children. Like, she was just bringing it out, you know what I mean? Like, but wouldn't know that by looking at our family and our house and where we live and this, that, and the third, you know? Because if Esau's diabolical to others, he is also diabolical to his own people, his own children, But we are going to let's start with Proverbs 3 and 33. Let's get into what's happening to their children and they can't stop it from happening. So we obviously want to talk about it. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 33, the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. All right. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. So let's see what's happening in Esau's neck of the woods, in his house, with his family. And this one happens at night. So let's check this out.
Video. A mother named Aaliyah is recording her daughter who just had a night terror. Aaliyah's daughter has been suffering from night terrors for the past few weeks now, which according to her child's doctor is a common phase that most children her age experience. But one night, Aaliyah wakes up to find her daughter on her bed, crying intensely than ever before. It seems that she just had the most severe night terror ever. Her night terror was so intense that she ran straight into her mother's room. So, Aaliyah immediately records this video to show her child's doctor. But while recording, this happens.
Right there, baby. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. There's the vent right there, baby.
Mm-hmm.
See, the vent pushes the door. You're fine, okay?
You lying to the kids.
Good girl. You're scared, just remember. Maybe that is your mom's here. All can be together in the same house. It's gonna be okay. Let's go back. What's wrong, Cora? What are you afraid of? You're scaring me, Amy. I don't see anything.
Just as Aaliyah sees her daughter staring at the shutters, she points the camera that way and captures this. The blinds suddenly closing on their own. But it's not just a few that close up, but rather all four shutters at the same time, which is made creepier when listening to the audio closely. It sounds as if someone or something had forcefully shut them. Naturally, they make a run for it and spend the rest of the night inside Mom's room. Now, the next day, Aaliyah makes a video talking about these shutters.
Let's get Job chapter 5 and verse 3. Yeah, go to sleep after that. You know what I'm saying? That'll keep you up at night. You know, Esau want to just keep playing. You keep playing. Most High, Most High got time. You know what I'm saying? He sent them evil angels down there. They got time. You know, for real. And I tell anybody that's watching now, listen, if you feel you got evil angels around you, you get out of nowhere just a crazy thought, a wild thought, and you're like, dang, it must be, some spirits around me. Ask the Most High to send it to Esau. Pick a Edomite, any Edomite. Pick Donald Trump, his cabinet. Most High, Baba Shaw, Baba Shaw, Baba Shaw. Be your will, send this evil angel, this evil spirit that's around me. Send it to Donald J. Trump. In Yahweh's name I pray. There you go. Simple as that. Okay? And you'll feel better. All right, Job chapter 5 and verse 3. I have seen it's some angels out here. There's some spirits out here, the and to be encamped around them, fearing the Most High is a great feeling in the last days. That's why repentance and coming back to the law, statutes, commandments is very necessary. You don't want this happening in your house. Trust me. Okay. Job chapter 5, verse 3. I have seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. You know what I'm saying? Their habitations are cursed. Verse 4. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them. All right. Verse 5. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorns, and the robbers swallow up their substance.
She shows how hard it is for all four to close at once unless someone had moved each rod on each window at the same time.
You have to be physically standing by the blinds in order to close them like this. And also, all four of them closed at the exact same time. There's not electronic, it's not battery powered,
Yep.
it's not creepy. Trying my best not to freak out. So to close these
Eerily, the door behind Aaliyah starts to move on its own. It happens right as she explains how the shutters work, which is made creepier considering what just happened last night. But that's not even the weirdest part, because later she points out something that makes last night's incident with the moving door even harder to explain.
So the AC was not on when the door closed. It's very loud. And you can hear it coming from the vent. The air vent could not have pushed this door closed in that other video because the air was not on, the AC was not on.
Now, even with the AC on, the door doesn't close. She was initially wrong for thinking the door had closed because of it.
There's the vent right there, baby. See the vent?
It was never on to begin with, which she demonstrates by comparing the difference in sound from both clips.
It's okay.
So then, if it wasn't the AC, then what had moved the door? Like the shutters, this one doesn't make any sense. Although creeped out by all of this, Aaliyah feels oddly relieved knowing that her child's night terrors might not be from nothing, but caused by something else. Currently, she plans to keep her daughter away from this room until she figures out what to do next. But until further updates are given, this video will continue to remain a mystery. As always, let me know your thoughts on this one.
All right, so that can make it difficult to sleep. You know what I mean? Go to work next day, go to school, concentrate. So the Most High is definitely weighing on them. You know what I'm saying? Sending evil spirits to weigh down, change their consonants, take that pride away from 'em, turn that frown upside down. No, turn that smile into a deep consonance to the point where they're going to try to, get to the tallest roof and see if they can fly. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? Let's get Job 4 and 8. Job chapter 4 and verse 8. Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. So they're just getting back what they dished out. You know what I mean? The things that they've done physically, mentally, spiritually to God's chosen people, they're getting it back. You know what I mean? With a bow on it. You know what I mean? And if anybody deserves that cup to drink, it's them. All right. Let's continue on. And what's happening now? Right now, the U.S. government is what are we, like 2 days away from continue on with this government shutdown and not allowing the people who pay into it, right? Taxes pay into SNAP, EBT, food stamps, right? This isn't, oh man, it's coming out of Donald Trump's pocket. You know what I mean? Oh, Congress got to pay for it. No, this is tax dollars. They pay for nothing. They don't pay taxes. Donald Trump bragged about how he doesn't pay taxes. So this is the people paying taxes to help people eat, children, seniors, disabled, people out on the hard times. You know what I mean? Working the minimum wage when the rent increases $500, $600, $700 in 1 month. Supplemental, for income for food from the government. They don't care about corporate welfare. Nobody talks about that. Elon Musk gets $10 billion, to put up another satellite that's going to help nobody, help Ukraine. So U.S. tax dollars will go for Starlink satellites to that Nazi. But, nobody talks about that. They talk about how, a single mother, 4 children are trying to feed make something happen in the in the grocery store to feed their children. Inflation sky high. All the food went up. Continue to go up. You leave out that grocery store feeling like, what in the world? What just happened? You know what I mean? Like you're paying a car payment to put food on the table. You know what I mean? Basic needs. So, when you see things that go on, the judgments that are happening, they're so well deserving. So well deserving. All right, let's go to Psalm chapter 37. We got to keep something in mind, right? The Lord ain't going to just have us out there. You know what I mean? You got to have faith. You got to have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai that he got you, and back that up with action. Is that faith without works is dead. Follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Opportunity comes to you, take it. Okay, so this one story, right? It was a guy that was sitting on top of a roof and it flooded and he can't get off the roof. So he prayed to the Most High God. You know what I mean? God, help me get out of there. You know what I mean? It's bad. It's raining. It's flooding. I need your help, right? His neighbor drives by with a rowboat and says, come on in, neighbor, I got you. He said, no, I'm cool. I'm waiting on the Most High. I'm waiting on God. He's like, all right, you be safe out here. Another person drives by in a motorized boat. Says, this is the Coast Guard. You know what I mean? Get in. We got you. Says, no, I prayed to God. You go ahead. You help someone else. I got you. I appreciate it though. He said, okay. Drives by. Helicopter comes. You know what I mean? Push down the ladder. Come on up. Like, no, I prayed to God. I got this. Helicopter flies off. Inevitably, the water rises more, the man drowns. Goes up to heaven, talking to the Most High God, and he says, God, I prayed to you. What happened? How come you didn't help me? He says, man, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? He sent those people to help you. Con. You know what I'm saying? So when we put our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we got to be ready for the opportunities that follow. Okay? Psalm chapter 37 and verse 25. I have been young and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. You know what I mean? Seeing all types of orbs over here, by the way. Just mark that down. We'll check that out later. Okay. See if it made it on camera. Bright lights. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so in this situation, God got you. You know what I mean? Con. He'll send blessings. You gotta have faith. You gotta have works. You gotta follow these laws, statutes, commandments. And allow the Most High to work. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go to verse 10. Psalm chapter 37 and verse 10. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. They're falling apart. Donald Trump had to get an MRI. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not normal. You don't just go into, general practices and then, you go, okay, let me check your ears and, and let's get you on the MRI machine. Wait, what? What MRI? For what? What were they looking at? Do you know what I'm saying? He's falling apart. He's falling apart. They falling apart. They're calling, Elon Musk is calling for civil war in Britain. Imagine that, a Nazi from South Africa, apartheid South Africa, went in the civil war in Britain. Just wherever he go, they're like pirates, like viruses. Wherever they go, it cause destruction and death. You know, I would like to see Elon Musk fight in a civil war. I will actually like to see Elon Musk run up a flight of steps. I would like to see Elon Musk do 50 push-ups in a row. He can't do it. All he can do is talk with his little Twitter fingers. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of these Edomites. They just talk tough. They wait until they outnumber you, and then they react. You know what I mean? But Jake is an army of one. And once Jake comes together and stops killing each other and hating each other, you know, hating your brother and your sister in your heart. Once we stop doing that, it's a wrap, you know, because we're going to, you know, come to an understanding that we got to follow these laws, statutes, commandments in order to have the Most High God have our back, and nobody can fight God, you know, but we too busy fighting each other. You know, they getting together. All right. But the scriptures say they ain't going to be here much longer. You know what I'm saying? Their mortality rate far exceeds their birth rate. And Becky loves Tyrone. You know what I mean? Becky loves Juan. Becky loves Jorge. So they daughters is looking at real men, the Israelites, not looking at you know, we say Beavis and Butthead, and they're not having no children. The Edomites that, you know, that are within age of having children and everything, they strung out, you know what I'm saying? High off fentanyl and heroin and all that, meth, you know what I'm saying? So their time is limited, very much so. Verse 11, but the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight himself in the abundance of peace. Verse 12, Slakia. Verse 12, the wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. You know what I'm saying? So this is a plot. They actually have money allocated for SNAP, for EBT, for food stamps. And apparently MAGA doesn't even realize that they're the same thing, right? They got billions of dollars allocated for that, but they're not going to use it. They say, oh, it's a government shutdown. It's not an emergency. Yet he gave $40 billion to Argentina. He's making an extension on the White House that costs $300 million base. It's probably going to be a lot more than that. You know, so this is a plot. You know, this is crafty counsel. This is what Esau has always done. He has never changed. You know what I mean? And now they got, you know, this thing on X is like the Nazi capital of the world, formerly known as Twitter. White supremastville USA. You know what I mean? But on there, they have Jake being exalted if they say, you know, yeah, why don't you just get up off your behind? You know what they do with food stamps? They sell food stamps. All of them do it. This is Jake saying this, right? Now, with Tariq Nasheed will say that they, you know, these dudes they're not foundational Black Americans. You know what I mean? This is Hamites that learn you know, to talk white. You know what I mean? Possibly, you know, our Caribbean brothers and sisters. They got coons in Caribbean, you know, and Caribbean as well, right? That look down upon Judah, you know, and they're getting on, you know, getting on the internet saying how good for you, you know, you Black people deserve it. But what it comes down to is Esau is the most affected by the food stamps being cut. They're falling into their own pit. They voted for their downfall. This is how dumb these people are, right? Let me verse 12 again. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. God is laughing at these people, man. You know what I mean? Let's watch the video. Most High God is cracking up. Y'all dumb as a brick.
A lot of people that are on food stamps and live in really poor areas also are Trump voters.
I voted for him for lower grocery prices. Not only has that not happened, I'm getting my food stamps taken. I did not ask for this.
Am I a bad person because I got a little smile on my face when I found out that 42% of the people that receive SNAP benefits are white people in red states?
This is for all the MAGA voters posting about not giving a shit about people not getting their SNAP benefits. Quick education, 55% of whites voted for Trump. Whites are the people who use SNAP benefits the most. They make up 37% of SNAP benefit recipients. And most of those people are in the Southeast and other rural areas.
Too many privileged white people are coming here on this app and they're talking about people that benefit from food stamps, which most of them happen to be white. Most of them happen to live in Republican states, red state. Now, don't blame the Democrats because this is absolutely Trump's doing. He can fund it if he wanted to. He's funding ICE. He's sending $40 billion to Argentina. Why are you not mad with him? The only thing the Democrats want to do is make sure that you have affordable health care and people are getting their notice. So not only you're not going to have your food stamps until the government is back in order, but you're going to have a big freaking healthcare bill coming January. And before you start coming over here complaining about the Democrats, I need you to go to the videos in which people are crying, teachers, healthcare professionals, in which their insurance has doubled or even tripled. Good luck on trying to get food and trying to stay healthy.
Baby, white TikTok is in a frenzy. And while I have my voice right now, I'm going to use that hoe. They don't understand how their SNAP benefits are being cut off in November. They literally thought when they heard SNAP benefits, it was only going to hit the black folks, okay? Now, I'm going to say this. When the government shuts down, it does not just shut down for one particular group of people. It shuts down for everybody. So, yes, white people in the Midwest, these Appalachian white folks, y'all ain't going to have y'all shit either. Now, I am going to say this. When you decided to vote for that man, you put a wild card on the table during UNO. You don't know which way this man is going to go. And no, I am not blaming Democrats once again.
Seeing white people in real time come on this platform with the realization that SNAP benefits is the same thing as food stamps and EBT, it's quite comedic. I can't lie, it's a little funny. And not funny, haha, funny, weird, because they did the same shit with Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act. They didn't realize that they were one and the same, just two different names. SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, EBT, food stamps, they're all the same, just different. You know, one is just like the government official name. I don't know. That's the thing about racism and being racist. It's a sickness. It's a disease that's generational, if we're being quite frank. And y'all don't want to heal from it. Y'all don't want to get better because you feel like you can stand on some imaginary pedestal instead of, I don't know, instead of allowing everyone to get benefits that make all of our lives better. You will cut off your nose to spite your face. You will shoot yourself in the foot in the name of making things difficult for a demographic that you just don't like, for something that they can't change, their skin. But then you don't realize you're hurting yourself too. And a lot of these politicians, the only color they care about is green. Money is their god. Money is who they serve.
Absolutely love your comment. Okay, love it. You are correct with a note. 1 to 2%. Okay, you are very, very close. I'm sure you do your fact checking, but you brought up something very important about race, and it does need to be talked about because you are correct. The data you talked about. So the latest USDA stats do show us that about 36 to 30% of SNAP participants are white, aka on the form, non-Hispanic. That means 62 to 64% are from other racial/ethnic groups. But it also means that this is a nationwide program. It reaches across racial lines and economic classes, right? So if someone were to tell you SNAP is only for minorities, that's definitely false. It's for low-income people of all races. I will get into why I just stated that here shortly. But let's get into the racial data and why it actually does matter and why your comment matters so much right now. So authoritarian governments have historically used divide and conquer, telling one group, you pay, they're taking it, or they're different than you. If people believe it's just for them over there and not for themselves, they may accept cuts actually when their own community is targeted next. The fact that a significant portion of recipients are white means any rollback is still everyone's problem, not just one racial group.
So many racist white people are okay with SNAP benefits being removed from everybody in the United States of America, and they sit here and act like they're not the largest recipients of SNAP benefits in this country.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the Joe Report, where we get an outsider's view.
All right. So that's pretty much that's good enough, you know what I mean? As you can see, it's affecting them. They dug a pit and they're the ones falling in it. You know what I'm saying? But of course, you know, we got some tough times coming ahead. You know what I mean? One thing that they talked about was, you know, just the benefits alone, it goes to the grocery stores, right? Grocery stores make $9 billion. I don't know if it was it a year or monthly. I don't know. Okay, off, you know, EBT. So that not, you know, that's not going to be you know, put to their bottom line. Food price is going to go up. You know? So when we're looking at famine, this is what we're looking at. Let's go to, and on top of that, the inflation that's happening now, and then the tariffs are kicking in because this moron thought it was a good idea to tax everybody in the whole world. And you know, that ultimately comes on the backs of the working people in America. Nobody's sitting at the border like, all right, here's this money for tariffs. That's not how this works. That's why everything's going up. So with that, food stamps being cut, we in a time. You know what I mean? This is a crazy time to be alive. Let's go to Job chapter 5, verse 19. Okay, Babylon is falling. You know, it's falling while we're living in it. Okay, you got to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know, that you're doing everything in your power to make your election sure, so you don't fall right along with it. Okay, Job chapter 5, verse 19, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall be no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. You know what I mean? So from famine and from war, violence, gunshots, bombs, and all that, Most High will redeem you. Okay, verse 21. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shall thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. So let Esau be the one that is taking in these snares. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sure when things get really bad, the people you tried to wake up are going to be calling you. You're going to be hitting your phone up like, yo, what's going on? You know, what's his name? Yahushua? What's his name? Did you say what I got to do? What, something about the Sabbath? When's the Sabbath again? People going to be scrambling, you know? But you never know, like, you know, and put like this. Think about the 10 virgins. You know, did the 5 give the other 5 their oil? He said, no, we're not going to have enough for ourselves. You know, so people be calling you up like, yo, I need some bread. I need this. I need that. But at that time, you know what I mean? You got to think about yourself. Think about your family. You know, and they knew you were on speed dial anyway. They're like, oh, this person's a holy man of God, a holy woman of God. So when things go bad, I'll just call them. No, 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 no. We ain't doing that. All right. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Time for famine. All right. I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but in the scriptures, it says, look, man, when Noah was in the boat, the Most High closed the doors. All right. Let's go to Sirach chapter 30, verse 23. You might be like, man, I gotta help my people and this, that, and the third. Now, I would, you know, as far as like food pantries and stuff like that, you know what I mean? You got an extra couple dollars, give some to a food pantry in your neighborhood. Maybe, you know, Maybe, feed a family, because a lot of children are going to be affected by this. Okay. Don't let nobody, what's the word? You know what I mean? Emotionally get you all, get you on your feelings, because they're not going to follow the law, statutes, commandments anyway. You know what I'm saying? You give them a case of water and you give them this and the third, you give them half of what you got, so your children and you don't eat, and they're gonna be right back like, oh, thank you, Baal. Thank you, Allah. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I just milked this Israelite. Now my family can eat. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about these things. People ain't ready to repent until their stomach start growling, till things get dark, till the lights go out. All right, Sirach chapter 30 and verse 23. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Hold on, that's not what I wanted. Slakia 23. That was still a good scripture. Love thy own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow have killed many, and there is no profit therein. So that worrying, the heaviness, that's not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got to give that energy to the Most High God. Give it to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay? Trust in him. Trust in him and he got you. Okay? Follow the law, statutes, commandments. He got you. Let's get 2 Ezra 2 and 27. Worrying doesn't help though. Worrying will have you your brain explode, have a heart attack, high blood pressure. You gotta get your emotions in check in these last days so you can think clearly. Prayer, meditation, reading the scriptures. What did our ancestors do? That's what we gotta aim for. That's what we gotta know. All right. 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 27. Be not weary, right? Don't be worrying. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. Okay. So Esau is trying to have this place turn up, civil war type time. People saying that they're going to go in grocery stores with their cart and just take whatever they want. You see, they've been planning for these things. That's why they got armed security guards there. You know what I mean? None of this is new. You go out to, I know around here, but I don't, possibly around where you at, they have these cameras that, are flashing blue and red lights, looking at everybody coming in, reading their license plate, and they say you're being recorded. This is the such and such police, da da da. You know what I mean? So they know what they're doing. They know they have a short time. So they're trying to just cause as much havoc and destruction as possible. And to the point where that movie, like the Civil War, everybody goes straight to DC and grabs them out of their offices, you know what I'm saying? And does whatever they want with them, Coming soon, right? Now, I'm not saying do that, but just like they had an insurrection on January 6th, give it a little bit. Give it a little bit, see if people don't take a bus trip to DC to talk to their congressman and congresswoman and president, And one thing America has that other countries don't have, I don't know why they're not even thinking about this, but they know they have a short time. They're ready to get in their bunkers in Argentina. But Americans got guns. You see with Charlie Kirk, he was talking out the side of his neck, and then he really started talking out the side of his neck. Americans got guns, whether they are ghost guns, legit, stolen, whatever, there's guns out here. So people, when they get hungry and their children are crying and all that, this place is going to turn up. Let's continue on. Let's go to Acts chapter 16 and verse 25. Because all praise to the Most High, the Lord is showing his power and his strength, and we can all see it. We can all see it if we're paying attention. You know, not getting caught up in the the battling back and forth. You're 13% of the population or 50% of America. You battling back and forth with Edomites with their false statistics. You know what I'm saying? Look at the bigger picture, right? Let's go to Acts chapter 16 and verse 25. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto Yahweh, and the prisoners heard them. So what they doing? They praying and they singing. They're not worrying and crying. They're in prison. They're praying and they're singing. What happened? Verse 26. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors opened, and everyone's bands were loosed. The door opened, people's chains fell off. You know what I'm talking about? That's legit. Let's get Isaiah 42 and 22. That's legit. What are they doing? Did they get a one of those, somebody sneak them in a file, in the birthday cake, and they started filing down? Did they do that? What'd they do? They were praying and singing. That's how powerful our God is. You see these things happening. And you know what that comes down to, for real, for real? They trusted in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They trusted him. They were praying, and then they started singing like, I know he heard me. I know he got me. Let's sing. All right. Let's get Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none deliver. For a spoil, and none saith restore. You know what I mean? Like, that's physically we're in prison. 2 million people in Babylon. You know what I mean? 50% of all exonerations are so-called black men, in there unjustly. So we're literally in prison, and mentally we're in prison, and we're in bondage here in America. You know what I mean? We're trapped in America. Let you do something and then try to get a passport. Let's get Isaiah 61. But what did Yahweh Bashem Yahushua say? Isaiah 61 verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to open the socket, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. So we are mentally in prison. We are under these curses. We're under the captivity of the Edomites. That was interesting. That was a ball of light that just went straight up into the sky. Okay, so let me write that down. We are in the captivity. What I say? We are in the captivity of the Edomites. You're actually in captivity, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, woman, child. How do we get out of this? We trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We follow the law, statutes, commandments. We keep the commandments. We do what the Most High God says, and we watch what happens. It's destroying these people. From the inside out and outside in, they're getting destroyed. That's why they're doing all these things now. Taking away SNAP benefits. Do you know what I'm saying? Having people under surveillance, snatching people out of their house, out of their car, sending them to the supermax prisons, to detention centers. They know, the devil knows he has but a short time. So what we got to do what God says and watch the sparks fly. Verse 2, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're the one that God's coming for. You're the one he cares about. And that scares them. All right. Let's mark that down. And I'm going to play that again. put it up on Instagram. I'm gonna put it up on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? This is what I see, right? All the time. Esau got the shutters falling all over the place and doors closing in front of them. Their children scared and all crying all over the place. You know what I'm saying? None of that. You know what I mean? Got the good angels around. They got the evil angels around. I pray I pray the 3-Eye Atlas is a chariot that's gonna take a beeline to America and come here and destroy these people, man. For real. Straight up. All right. All right. That was that. Isaiah. And look at that. Reading Isaiah 61, verse 1, verse 2. You know what I mean? If you on YouTube, you can rewind it and check it out yourself right now. But I'm gonna wait till the end and see what that was. Okay. That's how, you know what I mean? Those prayers go straight up to the sky, man. Pierce the clouds. Not playing. This ain't no game. They're gonna take out and they're gonna knock off my you're gonna knock off my live stream. Like that's gonna do anything. Let's look at the earthquakes that happen. You know what I'm saying? Let's just look at the earthquakes that happen here on this planet. Keep playing. You know what I'm saying? Keep playing, see what happens.
And man,
Fuck it, let's get right here.
happening a lot lately. Take a look. Major magnitude 6.8 earthquake hits the Caribbean today. Live updates. You can see this is October 27, 2025, today, this morning. Here's another one that hit 6.1 magnitude earthquake shakes Western Turkey. And we are seeing this pretty often, as I mentioned. Magnitude 7, magnitude 8. We had that 8.8 over in the Kamchatka Peninsula. Major earthquakes hitting around the world. We're seeing the tectonic plates moving, volcanoes erupting. We're going to see some photos of that here in a little bit as well. And take a look in the United States. San Francisco, another earthquake jolts the East Bay awake Sunday morning. Magnitude 2.5 earthquake rattles Columbia. We're hearing over in Maryland. And also wild footage shows volcano erupting in the Philippines. This coming out today, and this comes as we've seen some major earthquakes in the Philippines, and the Philippine officials are urging people to calm as fears are growing over the possibility of a massive earthquake. Fears have gripped the people about the likelihood of a big one, a big quake days after a series of earthquakes rocked the nation. Even though experts say there is no cause for panic, a lot of people concerned about a major earthquake that could be coming. Now, there's a lot of people that are concerned about this as well for the United States. Let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about a major earthquake in the U.S.? If so, put yes in the comments. If no, put no. But we have seen a lot happening in the Pacific. And take a look. We've been seeing articles coming out like this. Earthquake in the Cascadia region could flood the coast under 6 feet of water in minutes. And we're hearing that Cascadia, you can see catastrophic San Andreas earthquake could be triggered by that Cascadia subduction zone. As we have heard, scientists warning that the big one might not just be the San Andreas or one particular fault, but rather one after another, triggering each other, having massive thrusts that cause tectonic plate movement that could cause massive tsunamis and a lot of devastation with what they're calling a big one. Let me know, are you concerned about this right now with all the earthquakes that have been taking place? And just a quick Google search, you can see 6.0, 6.0, 6.5, 6.2, all within the last 24 hours. Another 6.0, a 4.6, a 5.8, and a 5.6. A lot of earthquakes happening all over the world. No small earthquake here, some pretty major quakes. Now,
God ain't playing. We'll leave it at that. We keep going on, but the Most High not playing. Earthquakes in diverse places, right? It's serious business, okay? Huge earthquakes too, not them little earthquakes, man. These are some major earthquakes happening on the planet right now. He said less than 24 hours of stuff that's been happening. The sun is exploding every day. Every day there's a huge, massive coronal ejection off the sun. You know what I mean? Um, the Earth, what's it? The in the Earth's crust. You know what I mean? The magnetic, pull of the Earth is wilding out right now as well. So from on the Earth to outside in the heavens, shaking and the shaking that's going on, and then like the biggest hurricane Jamaica's ever seen. I think the third largest, the biggest, earthquake. I'm not earthquake, hurricane the world has ever witnessed just happened or is happening right now in Jamaica. Okay, let's get Psalm chapter 107, verse 24. You know, people in Dominican Republic, people have died already. Dominican Republic and Haiti and in Jamaica. Our people are getting trashed as well. You go to Jamaica, talk about Jah, talk about Rastafari. I smoke, I get high, and I can talk to God and Haile Selassie. God ain't with that. Psalm chapter 107, verse 24. These see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep, for he commandeth and riseth the stormy wind, which lifted up the waves thereof. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 28, verse 2. So God is doing all this, prayed for our brothers in Jamaica, you know what I mean, that they repent and come back to the law, statutes, commandments. The ones that have repent, pray for their safety, you know what I mean? But as far as going the opposite direction, this is what God does. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make our election sure, and not fall into, any diverse lust, idol worship, you know what I mean? Putting anything over the Most High God. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 28, verse 2. Slaki, behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. This thing's huge, and it kept going to the west, and then it's turned up right in Jamaica. Okay, let's get 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17. She's like, oh man, I thought but they're Israelites. Why would they do that? They are, a lot of them over there in Jamaica, right? I'm not saying they don't have other nations and all that, but they are Israelites, right? But if you put in the Most High God, you put anything else over the Most High God, he's going to pay you back. He's going to get you. You know what I mean? And, over there in Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? I think that's where hedonism is. They be getting the women and giving them the massages on the, you know what I'm saying? Those are married women. There's a lot of fornication that goes on over there. Esau go over there to get himself some, you know what I mean? And feel comfortable doing it, dancing with what's that guy's name? Prince Henry, whatever Nazi was over there, having a good time with him, you know what I mean? But let's pray that they repent, pray the Most High, doesn't, destroy a whole bunch of our Benjamite brothers. We'll pray for repentance, okay? 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? Okay. So this segue into the next story. I know it's getting late. I'm gonna speed it up. Kenzito Dopers, right? So in Philadelphia, we have a place. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been viral several times. It's called K&A, Zombieland. People are when America was over in Afghanistan, it was heroin all in the streets. They left Afghanistan, ironically, Now they're in Ukraine. So now it's fentanyl, trank, crocodile they call it over there in Eastern Europe, over here on these streets. So it's almost like wherever America goes, that's where the drug of choice shows up. Okay, especially a place like this is an open air drug market. Sure you've seen The Wire with Baltimore. This is the Wire times, you know, not saying it ain't bad in Baltimore, but we had camp up there before, and people just giving out needles. There's needles all on the ground. People probably ODing. You don't know if they dead or just sleep, all leaning over. You know what I mean? Police sitting right there, not doing anything. And they busted a drug organization over there. Now, some of these cops got to go to jail because they obviously were on the take because they allowed this to happen. But I digress. Let's get to the story. All right, let's get to Hosea chapter 2 and verse 8. Well, who they got? They got Ephraim. Ephraim took over blocks and, taking advantage of the neighborhood of, close community, not getting the police involved and turning that into a open air prison for the residents there that, people will line up on blocks, blocks down, a whole block, people in line to get like a free taste, you know what I'm saying? Get a free bit of drugs or whatever up in that area. You know what I mean? So imagine you come out, you gotta go to work, you just getting home from work, and it's a whole line of 100, 200 fiends coming out of one house. And this is where you gotta grow up. You gotta, or you grow up, you raise your children. You know what I mean? So they took advantage of that. Hosea chapter 4, verse 8. For she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Verse 9. Therefore I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. All right, let's go to Hosea chapter 4, verse 5. The community, the love, you know what I mean, that Ephraim has for, their heritage, you know what I'm saying? Very proud of, the things they accomplished, you know what I'm saying? But with that and taking advantage of that, Most High God's paying them back. Okay? Got a whole block taken down. Let's watch the video and we'll come back to that. Oh, wait, you know what? My bad. Let me do, I forgot to put on, forgot about Jamaica. Let's watch Jamaica video.
Right now at 11, Hurricane Melissa is hammering the Caribbean. The storm unleashing relentless rain and wind on Jamaica. Live images from Kingston Harbor captured by the See Jamaica camera. You can see a wet intersection there, water sitting on the roads now that the storm passed through that area. And now this powerful system has its sights set on Cuba. Here's what we know about the destruction so far. The government of Jamaica has declared the island a disaster area. The dangerous weather has persisted even as the hurricane's worst has passed. Melissa made landfall as a Category 5 storm, the most powerful of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. At least 7 hurricane-related deaths have been reported across the Caribbean, 3 each in Jamaica and Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. The 3 deaths in Jamaica happened in accidents during preparations. Thank you for joining us. I'm Fred Shropshire. Shocking and devastating images from Jamaica are making their way into our newsroom. The island has bared the brunt of the hurricane. Take a look at the cell phone video out of southwest area of the island. You can see strong muddy waters rushing through the streets, the heavy winds tossing the trees like twigs. The wind is so strong, it's ripping roofs off homes and toppling other structures like this gazebo. You can see the rough ocean water in this clip as well. More than 530,000 Jamaicans are without power. And in this video, you can see The rain lashing the island with full force, flooding the streets and turning neighborhoods into rivers. We have team coverage for you tonight. NBC 10 Shaira Arias hears from people in Jamaica as they connect with their family in Philadelphia. But first, we begin with First Alert meteorologist Brittany Shipp. Brittany, you've been tracking this powerful storm closely. What does the newly released 11 p.m. advisory tell us?
Well, the latest addition is the fact that it is now re-strengthened into a Category 4 storm. You can see the eye of the storm has departed Jamaica, and it's in between Cuba and Jamaica at this time. You can see it's tracking here to the north-northeast. So let's look at exactly how strong the system is. It's now a Category 4 once again, with wind speed sustained at 130 miles per hour. It is moving a bit quicker than the 8 p.m. advisory. Now it's moving to the northeast at 9 miles per hour. Previously, it was the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. So that's more of a turn there to the right, heading towards the eastern parts of Cuba at this time. Over the next couple of hours, we'll put a tracker on that. It will be in Cuba. But just to look back at some of the strength that we saw with Hurricane Melissa, landfall at 1 p.m. near New Hope, Jamaica, wind speeds at 185 miles per hour, the first Category 5 landfall for Jamaica. And now as we look at the tracker here, you can see most of Cuba under a hurricane warning, and this extends up towards the Bahamas. It is now back to a Category 4. And as we again put a tracker on this will happen overnight tonight, heading through the morning tomorrow. By Wednesday at 8 a.m., potentially racing towards the Bahamas as a Category 3 hurricane before it continues to pull away to the northeast, staying far away from the U.S. shorelines. But we're also looking closely at how much rain we could see over parts of Cuba, and that's over 12 inches. We'll talk more about our local weather as well coming up in just a bit. Fred.
All right, we can cut it here. And one thing I noticed going to Jamaica is that a lot of our brothers and sisters over there know that they are Israelites. You know what I'm saying? And this is a time period that we living in. Jamaica's getting hit, Haiti's getting hit, Dominican Republic. It's we're at the end. Simple as that. We're at the end. Okay. Now let's watch the next video regarding what happened here in Philly with Ephraim. Slack, it's not the right one. Keep going.
So shall do the exercise that way we can move on.
Now, this morning's crime report. So whether it's blowing up cartel boots in international waters, taking down drug traffickers here at home, President Trump's serious about cutting the flow of narcotics into this country.
Yeah, and on that front, the FBI just took down what they are calling the epicenter of the opioid crisis in one Philadelphia neighborhood, a single block that operated as an open-air market for nearly a decade. Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera has the very latest for us this morning. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Mark and Charlotte. Well, the FBI and federal officials call this bust proof of what happens when you let cops be cops.
It's a massive drug trafficking conspiracy spanning nearly a decade, involving tremendous volumes of fentanyl and narcotics.
This is the 3100 block of Weymouth Street in North Philadelphia, what federal investigators called ground zero for a long-running drug operation in plain sight. Those people you see lining up, allegedly customers for fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and more. Sold openly around the clock for years, until now.
We have permanently removed a drug trafficking organization out of the streets of Philadelphia, and they're going to stop pouring guns and chemicals and drugs into our communities.
The feds say the operation revolved around one man, Jose Antonio Morales Nieves, aka Flaco. Prosecutors say he ran a drug network that stretched from Puerto Rico to the Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia. Nieves controlled several properties on the street, allegedly offering free rent to tenants who agreed to move his product. In the 173-page indictment obtained by Newsmax, federal prosecutors outlined a narcotics ring that ran like a business. The Weymouth crew kept a schedule of who did what and when. Runners resupplied the drugs. Caseworkers managed the drugs. Enforcers protected the drugs. And of course, the hustlers or street dealers made the transactions. All of it held together by fear, allegedly through violence and intimidation.
They enforced their territory through the threats of assaults, shootings, and murder.
And according to authorities, this drug syndicate wasn't shy about flaunting their violence, posing with illegal firearms and the stacks of cash those weapons were used to secure.
So let's get Hosea chapter 5, verse 5. And the pride of Israel doeth testify to his face. Therefore shall Israel and Ephraim fall in their iniquity. Judah also shall fall with them. So the pride that they, you know what I mean, selling drugs, taking over a whole neighborhood, taking pictures, obviously putting them online, and you know what I mean, just kind of flaunting the fact that, you know, one of the biggest open air drug places in America is run by them. You know what I mean? Now, of course, I believe their plug, once it comes down to, is the U.S. government. Like they're not, you know, taking all these drugs in through suitcases and, you know, having a flight attendant come in with it. You know what I mean? This is seems like a what's his name? The American gangster, what's up boy? Frank Lucas. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, you figure that, you know, or Rick Ross, you know, Frank Lucas was bringing in drugs through the coffins of the dead soldiers, allegedly, and then he went over there and, you know, made a deal after, you know, I guess the war was over, made a deal with the people on the ground and was bringing it in like that. Rick Ross had Danelle Blandone, which was a government informant, bringing in, you know, drugs through the Iran-Contra, bringing it to our neighborhoods during the crack cocaine epidemic. You know, when it all comes down to is you see government interaction with this. You know, if drugs stopped in America, the banks would close, you know, the stock market would collapse, you know, Social Security and all these things would no longer be available because drugs make this country go around. Just watch TV for 5 minutes. You know, when the commercial comes on, how many drug commercials can you count? You know, they're legally selling drugs, you know. But these guys, you know, are very prideful and very open about it. You know, and Most High took them down for real, for real. Verse 6, they shall go with their flocks and with their herds to seek the Lord, but they shall not find him. He have withdrawn himself from them. And just going into it and saying like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. You know, a lot of Ephraimites and Judites, you know, believe in like Christianity. You know what I mean? Ephraim's a lot of believe in you know, the saints and Mary and Catholicism. And their mindset is at the end, I can just say I'm sorry and, you know, God's going to forgive me. Scripture's clear, you know. The Most High knows your heart, knows whether you're sorry or not. They were selling drugs for 10 years straight. What they say, that's allegedly, you know what I mean? It's probably more longer than that. 10 years of constant, you know, some hard drugs where people just lining up, taking all their money because they steal from others, take people's Cadillac for converters off, sell it for drugs, you know what I mean? Do whatever, steal from their families to get money for drugs, and it comes to in their pockets. You know, does that mean after they get caught and they say sorry, does the Most High definitely forgive them? That's up to the Most High. Okay, but sorry ain't gonna get them out of prison at the end of the world. All right, we can watch a little more on this.
But that flaunt came with a price, handcuffs. And the Justice Department's warning to other traffickers in Philadelphia is simple. You're next.
You will see our faces again. The next indictment has a space with your name on it.
Those Edomites out there. You know what I mean? And once the feds get you there, you have boatload of information on you already. You know what I mean? 80% conviction rate. Either you plead guilty or you're never getting out of jail. For their case, they're probably never getting out of jail anyway. All right. All right. Two more. let's get sports and entertainment industry. That's one thing my brother always says. He says, you know, when you see the sports and entertainment industry in America going down, then you know it's over because that's their last stronghold right now. Do you know what I'm saying? As far as military and selling guns and uh um was it missile defense systems and jets and all that, they're getting outbidded by other countries, you know, France, China, Russia, so forth and so on. At this point, the sports and entertainment industry is keeping this place afloat. Now what happened? All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. You have this gambler situation. You know what I mean? No one to hold them, no one to fold them. Chauncey Billups, you know what I mean? They got these dudes that are the face for this huge gambling operation the feds brought down. But you did not see not one picture, I know I haven't, of the mobsters that were involved. So they're putting this on Jake. Jake is the face for all this. You know what I'm saying? Esau is a diabolical beast. But one thing we got to know, the hell you doing hang around them? Why would you hang around somebody that will kill their best friend, leave the gun and take the cannoli? They're known for that. They're known for cold-blooded murder. You know, they make sure they get the closest person to them to do the hit. They say, turn around, what's that over there? Bada bing, bada boom. They shoot you in the back of the head and bury you somewhere. And then go to the funeral, kiss your wife, give flowers at the funeral and sit there, you know, pretending to cry so nobody knows it's them. When everybody knows it's them. Why would you hang around people like that? You know, you sleep with dogs, you're going to wake up with fleas. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked and go not into the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it and pass away. For they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. They're just criminals. They're thugs. They're literally thugs. You know what I'm saying? They try to romanticize it, you know, Scarface, trying to say he was Cuban. Of course, you know, Al Pacino's Italian. But The Godfather, you know what I mean? Casino, Goodfellas, they romanticize this lifestyle, but all they are criminals. They wake up in the morning, they think about criminal activity to do, they go to sleep thinking about criminal activity to do. And they work for the government. Whitey Bulger was like an FBI agent, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes, Ralph Natale, FBI agent. These guys are like doing crimes for years, decades, and saying, "Oh, he's a plant we have on the inside." This nigga just shook down 4 businesses and shot 10 people. Y'all not gonna stop that, you know? And every time they get somebody about to arrest them, they're like, no, we're finding out information. Ralph Natale was the boss of the Philadelphia mob. You know, Whitey Bulger was the boss of Philadelphia mob. Sammy the Bull Garvano killed like they had 19 murders that he know they know about. And then when he put him in witness protection, he's selling ecstasy. Like this is they're hand in hand. The mob and the FBI are like this, you know. So when now they do crime for 30 years of their life, and then they just rat on somebody and are able to get out and do more crime, then that's a government official. So they do this alleged, not allegedly, the mob is involved in this gambling ring where they got, I think, like poker tables you can see through and see through contact lenses, and they looking through cards and all this other stuff, but you don't see them. All you see is Chauncey Billups. Makes you things that make you go, Verse 17, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. These daggone Edomites. All right, let's go to the next one.
The sprawling FBI probe into mafia-linked gambling and sports rigging schemes are sending shockwaves across the NBA and the United States. This is all part of two different major federal investigations dubbed Operation Nothing But Bet and Operation Royal Flush. The accusations in the indictments are rather shocking. NBA players faking injuries, underperforming in games on purpose, even giving insider tips about other players such as Lakers star LeBron James. Then there is the separate case, rigged poker games, where officials say high-tech cheating technology, including special contact lenses and x-ray devices that could see through face-down cards, that technology was used to steal millions from victims. So far, 34 people have been arrested, including Portland Trailblazers head coach and Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, as well as former NBA coach and player Damon Jones. 13 members and associates from 3 different New York mafia families. Yes, I'm talking about that mafia, the Gambino and Genovese crime families, among others, also arrested. CNN's Bryn Gingras has more on the arrests and the shocking allegations that are making the NBA season's opening week rather unprecedented.
Your winning streak has ended.
A takedown of an alleged gambling criminal enterprise linking 4 New York City mafia families and NBA stars.
Welcoming Chauncey to the Hall of Fame.
Portland Trailblazers head coach and Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat star Terry Rozier, and Cleveland Cavaliers alum Damon Jones, among more than 30 people arrested for their alleged involvement in one of 2.
Where the 30 people at? Can I see their picture too? I want to see the 30 people. Where the 13 mafia families or 13 mafia associates and members from like all 5 of the or I think it's 4 out of the 5 of the major crime families in New York. Where they at?
Elaborate schemes involving illegal betting on NBA games or rigged poker games.
Let's not, mince words. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA.
One document describing Rozier and Jones sending insider tips on players and teams, such as whether a player, including Rozier himself, was going to be sidelined or sick, placing bets to favor their odds and maximize profits, and then allegedly laundering their winnings, totaling millions of dollars.
They placed wagers on unders on players to score less, rebound less, assist less, using information that was not yet public. In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out.
In a second scheme, Billups and Jones allegedly teaming up with members of La Cosa Nostra crime families in underground poker games.
The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam.
They allegedly also used high-tech equipment to rig play, like this x-ray machine, which authorities read cards that were face down on the table. Also used hidden cameras and altered shuffling machines, which
read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator.
And then authorities say some defendants would resort to old-school mafia tactics to collect their earnings, such as robbery and extortion. I'm going to wait outside poker games and pistol whip 5 winners a week, one text message read in court documents.
And Jake, you said that news of these arrests really just stunning the NBA in the week of its own openers. Rozier actually playing against the Magic last night, sitting out on the sidelines, though, was arrested this morning in Orlando. His attorney says that he fully plans to fight these charges. And Billups, he coached his team, the Trailblazers, last night and was arrested in Portland this morning. Both men are going to be coming back here to New York to face these federal charges. In the meantime, the NBA says that both men are on immediate leave from their teams while they review these indictments. Jake.
All right, Bryn Gingras, thanks so much. Let's bring in, for more discussion, former federal prosecutor
Barrett Berger, who has prosecuted organized crime and racketeering cases in the Eastern District of New York, as well as USA Today sports columnist Christine Brennan. Barrett, the charges for the more than 30 involved in this illegal sports betting scheme range from wire fraud to money laundering, extortion, and robbery to illegal gambling. How do you anticipate prosecutors are going to handle these two separate yet overlapping operations?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these cases proceed, because while they do share some defendants, they really do allege pretty different schemes. My guess is they will be two separate cases. It'll proceed on two separate tracks. This is really the type of case that the Eastern District of New York has done before, and they do incredibly well. This obviously was a very complex, long-term FBI investigation that involved what I have to imagine is a whole slew of investigative techniques, probably cooperating witnesses. But this is what the Eastern District of New York does. They are pros at putting together these sort of large-scale cases that often involve organized crime families. This is, the Eastern District of New York has been one of the leading districts that's prosecuted mob cases. So
mob cases, as they say, mob cases, they show Chauncey Billups, Rozier. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta just, keep that in mind. That they're trying to put us as the face of criminals. 30 people, 13 mobsters, but you have not seen not one picture. I haven't seen them. Not one picture, name, none of that. All you know is it's Chauncey Billups Rozier.
they will do this case the same way they do those other cases, which is, methodically dealing with their witnesses, putting forth documentary evidence, and I'm really—
All right, that's enough. But to Jake, you can't be friends with these people, and they'll just because they have a big name like Chauncey Billups, the mobsters will testify against him. They're the ones extorting people, robbing, and all that. But this is, Babylon. This is modern day Egypt. Okay. So last video, we're going to talk about health, wellness, eating right, eating healthy. Okay. Eating your vegetables. Didn't you folks tell you that? Make sure you finish your vegetables. Why? Why would they say that? Let's talk about it. All right, let's get Daniel chapter 1 and verse 12. And we're going to watch this last video and we'll come back with the scriptures.
In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 health benefits of eating vegetables. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates before starting this video. Vegetables are a good source of vitamins and minerals that should not be overlooked. You're well aware that you can consume a sufficient amount of vegetables. However, did you know that only about 84% of Americans consume the recommended daily vegetable intake of 4.5 cups? Since most of us eat while walking, it's difficult to include vegetables in our diet. However, if you are aware of the health benefits of eating vegetables, you will undoubtedly make an effort to reap these benefits. So, in this article, we'll discuss the advantages of eating vegetables on a daily basis. Here are top 10 health benefits of eating vegetables. Number 10. The benefits of vegetables can also improve brain health. The Mind Diet is a high vegetable content diet that promotes brain well-being. The Mind Diet combines elements of the DASH and Mediterranean diets. In one study, 900 people aged 58 to 98 years old took repeated neurological tests when filling out food questionnaires. Choose vegetables such as spinach, kale, mustard greens, broccoli, and other green vegetables, and eat at least 6 servings a week to reap the benefits of vegetables for the brain. The brain will benefit as a result of this. Number 9. Benefits of eating vegetables for eye health. Why do you consume a large amount of vegetables? Vegetables have a lot of advantages for eye protection. Lutein and zeaxanthin are essential compounds found in some vegetables that are beneficial to eye health by neutralizing free radicals. Vegetables high in lutein and zeaxanthin can protect us from macular degeneration and corneal damage, which can lead to cataracts. Vegetables like parsley, kale, spinach, broccoli, carrots, peas, squash, and red peppers are good for your skin. Number 8. Vegetables are beneficial for bone health. Vitamins and minerals are found in vegetables, which help to build bones. Calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, vitamin C, and potassium are all essential minerals. To keep our bones safe, we need to eat vegetables rich in these nutrients. When we eat acid-forming foods like eggs, poultry, and other animal products, our bone resistance decreases. Although the impact is minor, it will pose a threat to the bones if it persists. The remedy is to include calcium and magnesium-rich vegetables in your daily diet so that the supply of vitamins and minerals needed by bones is maintained, allowing bones to reinforce themselves. Aside from that, we eat potassium-rich foods like onions, tomato products, and spinach. Consume magnesium-rich vegetables such as spinach, beets, okra, onions, artichokes, plantains, sweet potatoes, and collard greens, as well as artichokes, plantains, sweet potatoes, and collard greens. Number 7. The benefits of eating vegetables in reducing insulin resistance. A diet rich in plant substances or a diet high in vegetables, according to various reports, will improve insulin sensitivity. When selecting vegetables, look for those that are brightly colored. These vegetables contain a variety of vegetable compounds and antioxidants that are beneficial to one's health. Antioxidants have a variety of effects, including the elimination of free radicals and various harmful chemicals in the body. Furthermore, studies have been published that link soluble fiber-rich vegetables to improved insulin sensitivity. Number 6. The benefits of vegetables lower blood pressure. An individual with high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, has blood pressure that is too high to pass through the artery walls. If high blood pressure is not properly managed, it can damage blood vessels, leading to kidney disease, heart disease, and stroke. Since high blood pressure has no symptoms, it is often referred to as the silent killer. It has been shown that eating vegetables on a daily basis lowers blood pressure. Fiber-rich vegetables, potassium-rich vegetables, minerals-rich vegetables, vitamins-rich vegetables, and magnesium-rich vegetables are among the most essential vegetables to consume. Number 5. Reducing the risk of stroke and heart disease. Consuming vegetables has a number of health benefits, including lowering the risk of heart disease and stroke. Vegetables are high in a number of essential compounds that can help protect against toxins that cause heart disease, such as cholesterol. Additionally, these foods can help to enhance blood vessel function, lower blood pressure, and minimize inflammation. According to studies, eating 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day will lower the risk of cardiovascular disease by 28% and the risk of premature death by 31%. To get plenty of nutrients and reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, eat a variety of vegetables or all forms of vegetables. Number 4. Vegetables lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. A high vegetable diet has been shown in recent studies to lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. This is because vegetables have an antioxidant effect that helps to reduce insulin resistance and inflammation. A research involving 300,000 people found that those who ate a lot of vegetables in their regular diet had a 30% lower risk of diabetes. Vegetables, legumes, fruits, nuts, and whole grains are some of the diet items that will help to lower the risk of diabetes. Fiber, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, and a variety of other compounds abound in these foods. Even though vegetables are high in antioxidants and can help prevent type 2 diabetes, you should eat a variety of vegetables, especially green ones. Number 3. Vegetables as a tool to help stabilize body weight. Vegetables are not only good for your intestines, but they are also nutritious foods that help you lose weight. Prebiotics are contained in vegetable fiber, which provides food for the healthy bacteria in the gut. Some healthy bacteria can help you lose weight, and others can help you gain weight. Choose foods like raw cooked vegetables, all types of vegetables, particularly non-starchy vegetables, to reap the benefits of vegetables in weight loss. Number 2. Improve the gut microbiome. These are only a few of the many advantages of eating vegetables. The microbiome of the human gut plays an important role in overall health. Almost every aspect of the body is regulated by the intestinal microbiome, including metabolism, energy, weight, mood, nervous health, heart health, diabetes risk, metabolic syndrome, mental health, osteoporosis, allergies, and so on. A healthy intestine is one that is brimming with beneficial bacteria, and the diversity of these bacteria is critical for gut health. Western diets high in fat and sugar are thought to decrease the production of beneficial bacteria in the intestine, resulting in increased body damage and poor health. Fiber-rich vegetables are one of the foods that contain a lot of healthy bacteria. To keep your intestines healthy, eat healthy foods like vegetables. Number 1. Reducing inflammation. Insulin resistance, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, and rheumatoid arthritis are all disorders caused by inflammation. Western people's diet, whether they are aware of it or not, causes a variety of diseases. The typical Western diet is high in fat, sugar, and refined foods. It is a form of food that has the potential to harm the body. Green vegetables like kale, spinach, Swiss chard, and collard greens are high in antioxidants, carotenoids, flavonoids, and vitamin C, all of which help to protect body cells. And better if you prefer organically grown vegetables, free of chemicals. What are your thoughts on our video? Do you have something to add to our list?
All right, so eat healthy. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Daniel chapter 1, verse 12. Okay, it has other benefits. Okay. Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Because Daniel, of course, they want him to eat, and you know what I mean, they want him to eat with the king's meat, right? Who knows what it was? You know what I'm saying? Because Babylon, the Hamites there, could have been monkey meat, you know, just assuming that it's some type of pork or something that they don't want to eat, but it could have been anything. You know what I mean? Verse 13, and let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So we eat this pulse, which you know, you look that up, says something sown. You know what I mean? We sow something, you grow it. You know what I mean? So we're looking at vegetables, okay? Verse 14, so he consented to them in this manner and proved them 10 days. So they ate the vegetables, they ate the king's meat. Other people ate the king's meat. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. So they're eating vegetables and water. Now here it is, verse 17. As for these 4 children, Yahweh gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. You are what you eat. Don't eat garbage. You eat garbage, you turn into garbage, you feel like garbage. Because they say like every like 30 days or something, your cells regenerate or change, and this, then 30 make new cells. So if you're just feeding yourself burgers and fries, you can be filled with burgers and fries. You're gonna be sleep all the time, sluggish, your health's gonna be affected. You know what I mean? But you gotta have the body's made to thrive off of fruits and vegetables. Okay. And like they said, it's different varieties, nuts, this, that, and the third. And don't forget to throw in a fast every now and then. Okay. Kwame Ashala, we got next. I know it's late. Esau knocked me off of HOI News station. I don't know if it's, or not station, but you know, channel. I don't know if it's bodied, but might be. Might have to do a HOI News 2, you know what I mean? And start a new channel. But if you're watching this, please give it a like, share, comment, subscribe. So start getting this algorithm where it needs to be. All right. So we're gonna close out in prayer. We're gonna stand and face the east or prostrate and face the east. We're gonna do that. Give you a minute. Frankincense and myrrh. It's the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Daba'a, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yawam, Wasalah Nawa, Kabawah Nawa, Kasalah Nawa, Kabawah Nawa, Wala'a, Dabi Nawa, Banasai 1. Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Wa'ala, Watapalaraf, La Wilumyam, Aman. This book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. O Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, make haste to send your son back, destroy this wicked, evil kingdom. These people that try to hide knowledge, distort information, visit them, destroy them quickly, vex them, their family, their children, their neighbors, their goldfish, the dog, pass judgment on them. Continue with the prophecies, wars and rumors of wars, massive earthquakes, destruction on this evil, wicked land, and bring in righteousness, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, and lift up those of the 12 tribes of Israel that aim to be righteous, that aim to please you, to fulfill your word, and destroy those that do the opposite. In Yahweh Shai's name we pray. Amen. All right. Esau trying to stop it, but it's gonna get worse. There's nothing he can do. All right, Shalom to all the 12 tribes of Israel. Keep going. We almost home, almost out of here. You see the signs. You see what's going on. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more hectic. May the Most High watch over and protect you and bless you. Kwom Yashala. Shalom.
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 Shalom, family.
Shalom.
Shalom.